Good morning. Happy Easter, man. This is the part of the process I want to document, right? Because I'm learning this too. I just noticed it, right? I just noticed it, so I want to document so maybe it can help someone else. So it's coming to you raw of how I'm processing this, and as I'm processing, I'm gonna speak about it. So maybe you can find something that you can do for you. This is not gonna work for everyone, right? This is just more information that you can give that little voice in the back of your head, your brain screaming, "Help me! You do want to live," you know. And I've done it for 40 years, and I didn't even know it, right? This is just my little voice in my head saying, "You're bullshitting yourself, man. Just give me more information. I'm gonna help you." And I've noticed this now, so I'm gonna bring this process out, right? I'm gonna hopefully give it to someone who needs it, that can find their own way that they process stuff, and so it's happening, and this is how it goes. And the first information and process that I get may not be right, and that's that analytical part of my brain, like, be careful, and then that's a good thing. And I'm still ashamed of this, right? Because I'm way out in the back of my property, and because people are home, and I'm excited, and I can't contain myself. So I can't. This is how I do it, and instead of staying in my room, right, and just baking in there and mentally masturbating and not getting anything done. This is the raw it. This is why I don't do it out in public or what have you, right? So I want to share this with you because I can do it. I'm not seeing you. So I realized last night, and I don't know how many hours of sleep I got. I really don't. I don't know what time I went to bed. I know I woke up at 8, and it was good sleep for once, and that's what I've noticed. Like, when these wake ups come of this fog that I've been in for over 20 years, man, I keep going back and going back and going back, trying to figure out where my brain got so confused and crisscrossed, right? And I gotta figure it out, man. It's killing me. It's honestly, it is killing me. So I hope this can help someone, or help you. You don't have to be mentally ill to look around and see something's wrong, you know. Um, but part of the process is I recognize some things, and I try it and block everything out, because I got to give it that voice that's been yelling at me now forever, keeping me alive. I finally hear it, and I think I may understand what it needs, and how to help me. It ain't gonna heal me, right? It ain't gonna cure everything or fix everything. And these are realizations I have to tell myself. And we have to admit to ourselves, anybody, anything we do in life, right? We come to our conclusions by saying, "Yep, that's it," right? So I wanna quit stopping the stunting the growth of it, and let it speak and do its job. I just have to give it the right tools, and if I use any other tools, I need to use them correctly. Now, I was one to read directions, but now I try and look at pictures. Things change when you go through this. Like, I'll go through spouts where anybody talks to me, everything is a picture instead of a word. So trying to put that together, it's like a slideshow. Like, you say dog, a dog will pop in my head. Just random dog, like generic, learned in grade school kind of thing, right? That tells you how far back my brain has been damaged. And I see that now. And I'm trying to figure out where it happened, and give some pointers to where you don't do this to your loved one. Because it's by accident, nobody knows, right? And we do these things by accident. And because we're told certain things and gave things labels, baby, way before there was a name for something, it was here. You know, like nobody discovered any god dang on thing. It was already here. Don't chase the kitty. Shit, Akira, she ain't gonna chase you like the other two, baby. But the point is I have to remember that, right? I have to go back to where before all this stuff was created for us and told, and they told us what it was. Because those instincts, when I was a baby, nobody noticed them. And this stuff, I was crying out as a very young child, and nobody noticed them because of shame that they felt, and had nothing to do with it, right? Because I feel shame and embarrassment for people, and I don't even know them, but it's a situation they're in, and I understand the feeling and the hurt that they're going through when that happens. So, and that, a lot of people do, and they don't want to admit it, and they brush it off, or they suck it up, and because it becomes a norm, so they can laugh at it or whatever. I don't care, right? This is my processes. This is what I think people do. Hey, Sugar Marie, you better leave her alone. Stop it now. That's your sister now. Stop. Sorry. Oh, damn. You okay? Got my foot caught up. But I'm not trying to tell you this is true. This is just what my brain sees. The part that's trying to figure it out. What toddler reaches any grown man's pants and tries to grab their thing, you know? And because of shame of them, of what they fear people might think of them, and not saying nothing. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them for not saying nothing, because you'll get buried if someone thinks that you touched a child or anything. But I was the child, and I didn't know how to ask for help, and I didn't know what was happening and what had happened. And I just realized that, man. I was asking for help. Somebody, they just shut up and took shame upon themselves when we're told to do that. But we ask the wrong questions when it happens, right? Everything in your being has a backup when a child does something like that. Because if you get it wrong, you destroy someone that had no intention. So you got to back up when this happens, as much as you want to just go out and kill someone or hurt someone or make them feel what you think happened, right? Because we're just children, so we don't know how to express what happened. So you got to get on their level. And I think this is important of how I realized this, you know, because we don't ask the right questions. We didn't know I was screaming for help. You sit down and I just realized this. This is all raw, man. This is, so it might not be right. But I want to show you the process, so maybe you can find your own process of how my amazing brain that I was so down on for only having an 8th grade education and some vocational school. I always thought that was a bad thing, and I was ashamed of it, and there was no reason for it, because the laws that were out there for me to do what everybody else was doing was not there for me. And that's okay. They're just doing what they're told and trying to have a job and survive. I understand that. And you become numb to things when that happens, because you have to provide for your family and yourself. And I understand that. And I forgive everybody, because nobody knows, right? Nobody knows. So where was I? So the process is I realize now, when I felt like, because I had paranoia too, you know, so when I felt like that was happening to someone I loved, or I seen a trigger that I'm like, are they asking for help? And instead of jumping to what happened to me in life and overdoing it, I sat back and I would get down to their level and play with them and be playing, not ask a million questions right away. Try to figure out what questions and what level they're on, right? What they understand about their experience in life and what they call things, right? Because it's not what we call things as an adult. So we have to go back and we have to realize and just pay attention for a moment of how they speak and what they call things and stuff. And just like after about 10 minutes of playing just silly things or whatever they're playing and kitty kitty, just ask simple questions like, man, what you did earlier, that game, where'd you learn that at? That looks like it's pretty interesting, you know? Who taught you that? Those are good questions. But you can't do it all at once, and you got to understand that they don't have the words we have or the vocabulary or the brain processes that are working. I mean, they're working, but it's simple things like walking and talking and playing with things. Their whole world's a science experiment, right, at that age. And at this age, it's a damn science experiment, people. So ask them questions, but get down on their level so you don't mess up someone else's life that had no intention at all. They just didn't know how to tell you something was going on. And because we put names and shame on it, and we jump to conclusions when they don't understand what they're talking about sometimes. I just want to point out all the sides of that, of what I see. So maybe we don't hurt other people unintentionally, because we don't. We just get mad and angry and but back to the process, right? I seen that. And so I got that information now. And I got to work through it. I just wanted to document it because there might be some real stuff I said there. I'm not saying it's real. I mean, that's the right way. I'm just saying that's the way I do it when I do see things or hear things about something. I try and get to their level of understanding their language of where they're at, right? It's no different from trying to understand your teenager and the new talk that they have. It's just that we think about it different at that point because we're so busy in life of these titles and boxes we have to fit in. That's my opinion. I think that's where my brain gets so confused. As you can tell, I'm not moving as much, and that's a good thing. Like when I first came out here, I was running in place. I'm sitting down. I was running in place, moving around, stuttering. But the voice is starting, and when I say it out loud, this is the whole process. This is why I used to hide to do it, because I used to be able to write to do it. And that was one way to hide it. And I'd write stories, and I'd just write the ramblings in my head, and I would put all the ramblings into a story. And then my brain slowly stopped working like that, and because it was like, okay, you can survive this. This is how you survive, right? So it stopped right there. I helped it stop, because I was like, I can't go through no more of this, There's another part of my voice that's like, this is enough. This is all I can handle at this moment. And I have to listen to that one too, I do. It's very important to listen to that one too, guys. And I can tell you, I'm not a public person. But I used to hide to do it, right? Because I lost the ability to write to do it. And that's all I had, was to write and create. It was something I was proud of. And I never really shared it. I would hope someone would find it and not know who wrote it, because I think I loved when I found poetry and I didn't know who the author was, right? That may have just been a coping mechanism too, because I can't remember names. These are just things I try and point out to myself so I can help my brain, give it the tools to say, okay, so that works. But this time I can't stop. You know, I'm not saying it's going to heal me. I'm going to get better. You know, I may even think I'm better at some point, and I'm not. But you can live. I've lived for 40 years because unknowingly I gave my brain information that it seeked out on its own because I wasn't paying attention. And I think that's important. It's important to tell people, listen to that part of their brain that's screaming. All the acting out you're doing and the tribalism you're doing, it's screaming, man. Yeah. The one voice wins out. That's what you got to understand, because it helps you get through your day, and it makes it easier for it to understand, that part of your brain to understand, or that part of where you are in life. You know? Those are just coping mechanisms the brain has, and they've done us great things. It's just that tool too we're misusing and not understanding it and pointing out to itself when it is right, and it has to admit and move on and just, you know, that's the way it is. And that's okay. It's okay, you know. We don't have to do everything everyone else does. I don't want to travel the world. I don't want to go on cruise ships. And not because of my disability or my fears of being around people or crowds and other smells that people have it confuses my brain. It's just I can't process that information when I'm losing my mind.